Hi, Head Start and Early Head Start friends. I'm going to tell you the story of the three little pigs today because it was one of the favorites in our classes. So let's get started. Once upon a time, there were three little pigs that lived home with their mom pig. But they started to grow too big to all live together. So one day their mom said, I think it's time for you guys to find your own house. So the next day, the three little pigs set off. They said goodbye to their mom and started walking down the road. The first little pig got tired of walking and he came across some materials that he found on the side of the road called straw. So he built his house out of straw. The other two pigs decided this wasn't a good idea and decided to keep walking. Then the second pig got a little bit tired and decided that he was going to build his house out of sticks that he found on the side of the road. The third brother thought this wasn't a good idea, so he decided to keep walking, and he ended up finding some bricks on the side of the road, and he built his house out of bricks. What they didn't know was as they had been walking, somebody was following them. It was the big bad wolf. He went to the first pig's house and he knocked on the door, and he said, you guys can join in on this part. Little pig, let me come in. The pig shouted back, not by the hair on my chinny chin chin. So the wolf said, well then I'll huff, and I'll puff, and I'll blow your house in. So he took a big breath, and he blew, and the little pig's house fell down. The first little pig ran to the second pig's house, and ran inside and shut the door. But the big bad wolf wasn't far behind. So he got there and he knocked on the door again and he said, little pigs, let me come in. And they both shouted back, not by the hairs on our chinny chin chin. Well, he said again, well then I'll huff and I'll puff and I'll blow your house in. So this time he took a big breath and blew. And the house shook, but it didn't quite fall down. So he took another big wolf breath and blew as hard as he could, and this time the house fell down. So then the first two little pigs ran to the third pig's house, got in the door and shut it, but the big bad wolf wasn't very far behind. Again he knocked on the door and he said, little pigs, let me come in. They all hollered back, not by the hair on our chinny chin chins. He said, well then I'll huff and I'll puff and I'll blow your house in. So he huffed really big and blew once, and the house didn't move. So he huffed and he puffed again, and the house didn't move the second time he blew. So he huffed and he puffed a third time, and a fourth, and a fifth, and the house didn't move, and he kept huffing and puffing till finally he got tired, and the wolf, being exhausted, which means really tired, sat down next to a tree. And they heard him when he sat down and said, all I wanted was somebody to help me build a house. So the three little pigs talked it over, and they went outside to talk to the big bad wolf, and they said, we heard from inside that all you wanted was somebody to help you build your house. Had you just knocked on the door and said, can you help me build a house? We could have helped, but he didn't say that. Instead, he got frustrated and blew all the houses down. Pigs went out there and said, did you know that wolves actually live in the forest? And there's a beautiful forest in our backyard. If you'd like to live there. The wolf responded, I would love to live in the forest. Would you guys help me find a spot? So the three little pigs and the big bad wolf went out into the forest and found the perfect spot for the wolf to live. They all learned that day, if you stop when you're frustrated and talk to one another, you can come up with a solution to the problem. And from that day forward, they all became friends. I hope you enjoyed listening to the three little pigs and the big bad wolf. I hope you guys are healthy. I miss you.